in the building. Top of the morning, good morning. I hope some of y'all that celebrate the 4th of July had the time of your life. While I was, getting the digits. I was at work getting some money. Nothing wrong with that. But in the midst of this, there's a lot been going on lately, man. There was a shooting at a parade yesterday, and this gun thing is to me, is becoming a mental health thing. I'm not a psychiatrist. I'm not a doctor. It just seems that everybody has guns, and definitely in these Midwest states, people are dying off of legal guns. Some illegal, but most of these guns are bought over the counter. You know what I'm saying? In these type of states, you do have to defend yourself. You do have to be gripped up. Because back in the days when somebody got shot, it was for a reason. Now it's anything. We have an argument in my car, road rage. That's just like a couple of weeks ago in St. Louis on Kings Highway. Two guys had a car crash. They had words, shots were fired. An innocent bystander got shot at a gas station. But this has been going on. In Albany, New York, simple arguments, people are passing away over simple arguments. It's a mental health thing. It doesn't have a color. We can't say whether it's a black thing, it's a white thing, it's a Hispanic thing, it's an Irish thing. It's a thing. It's a thing, and we just gotta find a way to stay out the way. Out the St. Louis Dispatch, which is the St. Louis newspaper, St. Louis Post-Dispatch, it goes, dozens of bullets sent parade goers scattering in an affluent Chicago suburb. Highland Park, Illinois. A gunman on a rooftop opened fire on an Independence Day parade in suburban Chicago on Monday, killing at least 6 people, wounding at least 30, and sending hundreds of marchers, parents with strollers and children on bicycles fleeing in terror, police said. Authorities said a 22-year-old man named as a person of interest in the shooting was taken into police custody on Monday evening after an hour-long manhunt. Now, we're speaking about an affluent neighborhood, and now it's raising eyebrows. Now, let's see how many shootings was over the weekend in the city of Chicago. It goes, Chicago shootings this weekend. 71 shot, 8 killed in violence across the city over July 4th. So, needless to say, the parade is going to get all the light because of the neighborhood. We get it. But in the city of Chicago alone, they said there were 71 people shot over the weekend and 8 killed in violence. So, needless to say, it's looking like guns is a mental health thing. I mean, people are able to purchase guns that have mental health issues or may have purchased guns. I think when New York State are thinking about passing that law saying for you to purchase a gun, they went to social media for 3 years, maybe they do need that. Let's just see where your friend, where your head is at. You know what I mean? Because people are dying over simple arguments, or for thoughts and theories, conspiracy theories. It's getting crazy out here. People are shooting schools, shooting at. It's everybody's shooting. Albany, New York is turning into baby Brooklyn, where every other day they're finding guns and shootings, or somebody's dead, somebody's getting murdered. This is crazy. You know what I'm saying? And the drug of choice, as crazy as it sounds, it's not even the hard. It's fentanyl, it's crystal meth, it's the chemicals, it's the perks, it's the lean, it's all the stuff that got chemicals. Most of this stuff is used in cigarette patches. Some of these things are used, you can get from the pharmacy or the doctor's office. The drugs that got these people bugging out are legal. You know what I'm saying? You can get with a prescription. Just be mindful, man. The guy, do not believe when y'all say you want the OGs to speak to the kids. Some of you dudes gotta look at yourselves and go, "Why just be a dad, man? Be a grandfather, be an uncle? Why must you think the streets is supposed to raise your kids, your grandkids? Yo, why the OGs don't be going kicking it with the young boys? Just be a dad, bro. Be an uncle. Be your best friend." You know what I'm saying? How you gonna ask somebody to help your child that's not helping their own kids? Or ask somebody to help your child and they don't got their life together? Mental health is a dangerous thing, man. It's the same cycle. You got some individuals that are passed up in life chasing rap dreams, DJ dreams. You know, chasing their dreams, but not their reality. At some point, something has to become reality. So y'all just keep that in mind, man. When you speak about gun violence, when you speak about, it's a mental health thing, man. And that's just what it is. I don't feel I need a gun to go to the store. But you got some dudes that feel they need a gun to go to the store. Not because they got beef, because, yo, I wish somebody would look at me funny. I wish somebody would bump into me crazy. It's a part of people's uniform now. So you go to work, you gotta have a badge on, and you gotta have your razor for the boxes, or whatever you do as work. A gun has become a part of a lot of people's uniforms. So y'all keep that in mind. When I say guns up and gloves down, that conversation is totally different, because some dudes don't even have beef and got guns because they feel it's a part of the uniform. And in some of these states, if you punch me in the face and I shoot you, as long as I run to my car and go get my gun, I can claim self-defense. So y'all keep this in mind, man. Stop looking for the streets to raise your kids. What am I supposed to tell your child? I can tell about my life experiences. My life experience ain't got nothing to do with your life experience. Best I can tell you is, listen, get some working papers, get a job, stay out the way. Instead of hanging on the corner, like I tell the young boys where I work at. The young boy said, "Yo, Zeke, man, I've been since 6 o'clock in the morning. What time you get off?" "I get off at 5. "Good." He goes, "What you say good for?" "You could be outside getting shot at." That's just the reality. Somebody tell me, look at me. "Oh, you're right. You could be getting shot at." That's the reality. A lot of y'all don't want to see the reality. And that's what I'm doing this show for. It's the reality. I don't gotta be Malcolm X. I'm not trying to be Malcolm X. I'm not trying to be Martin Luther King. I'm not trying to be none of that. I'm just trying to tell you reality. When I see them young boys and they come, "Yo, Zeke, what's up? Yo, you could be getting hit at, bro. How many of your friends was playing around 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon and they got smoked?" You know what I'm saying? Yo, you're right. It's a mental health thing. Just y'all keep that in mind when you're running around these dirty streets and you're thinking about being real. It's a full-time job, man. When you go to that gas station in the hood, you're taking $2 chances on your life. Y'all keep that in mind, man. Because now it's to the point where we're asking people to speak to them. Get it. I understand it. Speak to the kids. Get it. I get it. But what am I supposed to tell your child? If I got, forget about nothing to offer, the best I can tell them is put you in the right position. Yo, this is what you got to do for yourself. See, that's the conversation you have to do for yourself. You got to stop looking for everything outside of you. Stop looking for, as long as he say I'm real, as long as they keep giving me fire, as long as they respect me. Until you get to that point in life, and that's something called self-esteem, nothing else matters. Nothing else matters. When you don't care what nobody cares about you, when you don't care what nobody thinks about your character because you're making your own money. That's what rich people do. They make their own money and don't care what nobody got to say about them. You got some that do, and they pay millions of dollars just to keep their characters, what people think about them on 1,000. So you gotta be mindful of that, bro. You gotta be mindful of that. Now, here goes down. Today's show is a little different. This is a disclaimer for all the people that may have passed away, their families and their kids. This is not glorifying black murder or black or Latino murder. This is reality. The streets is not a place to play. And in the words of other individuals, the streets will get your head knocked off. As I was doing the Deputy Shop at Crown Courts TV for this great footage and coverage that they did on the CMB, and I was noticing as I was reading down going through some of the videos with the CMB, there was an individual named eBay. eBay allegedly, because I don't have to say allegedly, because the man's fighting for his freedom. Allegedly, eBay murdered the who's who of the streets. Top of the morning. Allegedly, he murdered the who's who of the streets. eBay. Shout out to What You Jackin', you know what I'm saying? What You Jackin' podcast is in the building. I'm dedicating this show to What You Jackin' podcast. This is about to get funky. This is real. He wasn't an outpole that had killed 2-3 good names, but everybody else was crackheads and dope fiends and dudes that was getting high running off of packs. This wasn't that type of situation where, okay, you killed Rich allegedly and you killed Dementio and Big Head Gary. Anything else on the roster didn't really matter. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Okay, you would have created a narrative that thing was real, but the streets know don't have these dudes with woo heads and coke and fucking with them grizzlies and all that. So that just scratches that out. Okay, we give a glaze, yeah, I told you such, but out of 6 bodies, 3 was probably official cats, and the other 3 was, he was getting high, with a pack, so I shot him. These guys wasn't young boys. They was outside in 87, 88, 89. These wasn't kids. That's CMB. Yes, the CMB. I got some receipts. You know what I'm saying? I got some receipts. This man had 9 lives. Here go the first receipt, man. Once you Jackin' may even know some of these dudes. You're getting some audio too, you know what I'm saying? You're getting some audio, man. Now, eBay, right? The thing about eBay that's very interesting is that he didn't snitch. Salute Corey King, beloved. Salute Corey King's in the building. He didn't tell. He didn't tell. So nobody wants to speak about the man who didn't tell. Now, had eBay told, he'd have been the OG of all OGs. Because he murdered the who's who of the streets. The who's who. Like I told you, his bodies, the individuals that he laid down allegedly, Alpo was nowhere close to that. Nowhere close to that. The closest he got to that was probably Dementio. You know what I'm saying? The who's who of the streets of Brooklyn. These dudes was nothing to play with. Y'all heard about one, the guy who shot 50 Cent. You know what I'm saying? Y'all heard about Crazy Supreme. These are the dudes Corey King know. These are dudes like CK grew up with. These are the dudes that when they was going around going crazy, they going out of town. Allegedly, it's a fact. This guy was a real guy, man. But nobody speaks about eBay. Nobody wants to speak about eBay. No, let's keep eBay name. But we're glorifying the rats. Yo, here it goes. Funny you said that, right? Now, going through my ghetto notes. Hold on. There's a situation that happened with it in Coney Island. Brooklyn gunplay kills one and hurts two. One man was killed and two others was critically injured when a gunman opened fire inside an elevator at a Brooklyn housing project last night, cops said. The identified dead man was shot in the head and was found slumped in the third floor elevator at Surfside Gardens on West 31st Street in Coney Island, police sources said. An injured man who neighbors said are cousins was taken to nearby Coney Island Hospital and Luther Medical Center in Sunset Park, police said. Their identities was not released last night, a source said. The shooting was drug-related. Heavily armed police surrounded the 15-story building after a resident called 911 at 7:10 p.m. The building, former home to New York Knicks guard Stephon Marbury, was in lockdown for roughly 2 hours while cops searched hallways for the shooter who remained at large. This was in the Daily News. Rest in peace to Robert Vaughn and Isaiah Holmes. I believe they was cousins or stepbrothers. It goes, rest in peace to Robert Moe. I don't know who they are, maybe rest in peace. Yo, he survived that. This man survived that shooting. This is a newspaper article that was written. Here go the receipts. This is the receipts part of people. This is the receipts. This is serious, man. To my eBay. Shout out to eBay. Shout out to them. Rest in peace to the family. This is serious. This guy was he the cousin to death? Remember when Nas said the cousin to death? Was eBay allegedly the cousin to death, bro? Let's go into the other archives, right? Now, it's alleged that he murdered. Yeah. He just happened to get hit. I heard he got hit in the head. 9 lives, you know what I'm saying? Boom. Moon in the hospital. Damion Hardy from his cell directed his gang member to exact revenge and ordered CMB members to murder. Yeah, y'all should have said wrong place, wrong time. He was at the wrong place at the wrong time. They even said the 2 guys who passed away, that was messed up. You know what I'm saying? That's a fact. That's a fact. He was just at the wrong place at the wrong time. Now, it's said that revenge ordered CMB members to murder Darrell Byam, James Hamilton, Tyrone Byam, and Ivory Davis. Each was murdered by allegedly Granton. These names is Brooklyn names. Darrell Byam, James Hamilton, Tyrone Byam, and Ivory Davis. There was an innocent bystander named Johan Commits. Through his murderous work with CMB, Granton earned a reputation as an effective and ruthless killer. As a result, he was recruited in 2001 by a separate gang. The Supreme Team, to kill Troy Singleton, who then shot multiple times in the back of the head as he left a nightclub in Queens. Now, this is the crazy part about the Troy Singleton situation. Allegedly, in court documents, Troy Singleton died because I guess he was cool with E-Moneybags, and allegedly, Supreme must have thought that, assumed, allegedly, it's all allegations that he assumed that Troy had to go. You know what I'm saying? Because I guess he felt like Troy was going to come back to assassinate him. You know what I'm saying? Or exact revenge. Troy Singleton, Big Nose Troy, was a shooter, legendary guy. These guys, he was a legend when they came to that gunplay. This is silly, you know what I'm saying? Like I told you, we talking about the who's who, these names that these rappers is rapping about, that y'all like gangster rappers, the names they spot and things and situations that they shooting out. This is done. Now, that's that. Damn. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? That's you know what I'm saying? That's crazy. You know what I'm saying? Now Crown. Now the thing about this is this guy's name is on now listen, this is a supreme situation, right? Some guy named Alvin Smiley gives first-hand accounts of E-Moneybags hit. You know what I'm saying? By Supreme McGriff. Hold on 1 second. Make sure I got the right one. Yeah, I got the right one. This is from Crown Court TV. That's good. No, check out the content. This is real life stuff. This is deep.
Is that correct? Yes.
What's
the minimum term in jail that you are facing? Life imprisonment. And the maximum term? Life. And as a result of that cooperation agreement, what's your obligation to the government?
Shout out to Mei Ling. That's her on the Voice Crown Courts TV. Watch all their content. This is Mei Ling on the 1 and 2s. This is trial transcripts for those that don't know.
To tell the truth. What's your understanding of what the government's obligation is to you? To write a 5K1 motion to the judge? What's your understanding of what that 5K1 motion is? The judge makes a determination in the sentencing. Okay, what will that 5K letter include? My full cooperation. Would it also include your criminal history that we're about to talk about now? Yes. Do you have any promises as to what your sentence will be? No. Who is in charge of your sentence? The judge. And if you don't tell the truth, what is the sentencing you will be facing? Life imprisonment. Mr. Smiley, you said you have been in jail for this past 9 years. Is that right? Yes. Have you gotten in any trouble while you have been in jail? Yes. Can you tell the jury what that is? I had 2 or 3 fights. I cursed out an officer. I went into the shoe. What's the shoe? The box. And how long were you there for? 45 days. Is that the only time you have been in the shoe for the past 9 years? Yes. Where did you grow up, Mr. Smiley? In Manhattan. Where in Manhattan? 155th Street and 8th Avenue. Is that Harlem? Yes. Who was in your household when you grew up? My mother, my 2 sisters, and my 2 brothers. Did you go to school up in Harlem? Yes. How far did you get in school? High school. Did you finish high school? No. What grade? I dropped out in high school. What grade? 10th grade. Why did you drop out? I was dealing in the streets. Dealing what in the streets? Dealing drugs. About how old were you at that time? 15. And were you selling on your own or were you selling for somebody? I was selling for a boss. Who was that? A guy by the name of Marlon. Where did Marlon sell? On 155th Street and 8th Avenue. What types of drugs were you selling then? Crack and cocaine. You said he was the boss, is that right? Yes. So what was your role? Just to sell the drugs? On the corner? Yes. Did you ever get arrested while you worked for Marlon? Yes. How old were you then? Maybe about 16, 17. Was that your first drug arrest? Yes. Do you remember what the circumstances were? I think they closed the case. They sealed the case the first time I got caught. Is that because you were a juvenile? Yes. Do you remember how you got arrested? I sold to an undercover officer. And did you plead guilty as a juvenile? Yes. And what was your sentence? At that time, I think I got a drug program.
Yeah, what you, Jack? I'm definitely reading your comments. That's real, man. He goes, thank you, Zeke. Shit, things brought back that day of my people's passing. eBay was cool. He didn't do his business on Coney Island grounds. He kept his stuff outside. 5 on this. Rusty Jacket also says Rob and Isaiah was basketball young players of the community of Coney Island, super well known to all, always bet they props. Coney Island, and peace to eBay, baby mother who do community work.
And the time you took a drug program, did you have a drug problem? Yes. What were you using? Marijuana. After the drug program, what did you do? Did you go back to Harlem? Yes. And did you find a job? No. What did you start doing? Continue to sell drugs again. Where were you selling then? The same spot, 155th Street. Did you get arrested again? Yes. And what was that for? I believe it was for cocaine. And just in terms of crack cocaine, what quantities were you selling? Small quantities, like vials. Did there come a time when you stopped selling crack cocaine? Yes. Why was that? I was getting in trouble too many times. And before that, did there come a time when something happened to Marlon? Yes. What happened? He got killed. And as a result, did you take over the corner there at 155th and 8th Avenue? Yes. Did you do that on your own? No, 2 of my friends was with me. Were you still selling crack at that time? Yes. About how old were you at that time? About 19, 20. And how long did you sell at the corner of 155th and 8th? Until 1997. And just to be clear, when you were selling there, was it just you and 2 friends, is that right? Yes. Were you just selling to customers or were you selling weight? Just to customers. How successful were you? Not too successful. And what happened in 1997 that made you stop? I was getting in too much trouble, so I just switched over from selling crack to straight coke. Why did you make that switch? It was an easier clientele. Can you just explain to the jury what you mean by that? Well, with the crackheads, it's more kind of petty, and with the coke users, they're more professional people. When you say you were getting into trouble, what kind of trouble were you getting into when you were selling on the corner? I was getting arrested for beating up customers, things of that nature. When you said you beat up a customer, can you explain why that happened? Well, customers owe me money and they don't want to pay, and I sold to them. And were you also involved in a shooting around that time in 1996 before you made the switch to selling cocaine? Yes. Can you tell the jury what happened then? A guy stole the guy's cell phone. He asked me to ride him off a pedal bike. I told him no. He tried to take the bike from me. We fought for the bike. He pulled out a gun on me. I told him that he better shoot me since he pulled out the gun. Let me stop you right there. You said a guy took a bike from you? He tried to take it. Do you know that person's name? Yes. Who was that person? A guy by the name of Man. Did this happen around in Harlem at the time? Yes. Was he able to take your bike? No. What happened? We wrestled for the bike and I took the bike from him. Then what happened? Then I rode off on the bike and I went and got a gun. Was that after you had seen him with a gun? Yes. Where did you go and get the gun? To my house. What type of gun did you get? A 12 gauge Remington. What is that? A shotgun. Was there anything particular about that shotgun? No. And was that the only type of gun you carried back then, in 1996? Yes. What happened once you got your shotgun? I came back looking for him, and then I seen him, and then he ran in the game room. I chased him in the game room. I threatened him. What's a game room? A video arcade game room, and it was like a / restaurant, and I chased him in there. He was hiding, and then I told him, let's have a shootout. He was scared, so I was leaving, and he tried to run behind me and shoot me. Did he shoot you? No. What did you do? I shot him. What time of day did this happen? Maybe 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Did you hit him? Was he injured? Yes. Do you know where you shot him? In the chest. And did he die? No. Were there people around when you did this? Down the block, not in the area where it happened at. Did people learn about what you had done, shooting the guy with the shotgun? Yes. Did you ever get arrested for that? No. You mentioned a guy by the name of Russell Allen. You mentioned a couple of people. Did you know him at that time? Yes. I show you Government's Exhibit 31. This is in evidence. Can you tell us about him? Yes, that's Russell Allen. How do you know him? We grew up together. He was also from Harlem, is that right? Yes. Now, the result of this shooting incident, was that one of the reasons why you stopped selling crack cocaine? No. But after that, did you start selling cocaine? Yes, I was selling cocaine in 97. How long did you sell cocaine for? From 1997 to 2003. You mentioned you also know an Emmanuel Mosley, is that right? Yes. Showing you Government's Exhibit 26. Can you tell us who that is? Yes, that's Emmanuel Mosley. How did you meet him? I met him through Les. Did you know what Les's relationship was with Mosley? He sold drugs for him. And what kind of drugs were they selling? Cocaine and crack cocaine. You said that Mr. Mosley had hired you to do those 2 murders, is that right? Yes. Can you explain to the jury the first time that you met Mosley? I met Mosley through Russell Allen. Can you describe the circumstances? He came to my house. He propositioned me 2 or 3 times about doing a murder with him, and I turned him down. The 3rd time he came, he offered me more money. He said it was a substantial amount of money involved, and I agreed to it, and then he took me and introduced me to Emmanuel Mosley. He told me this is the guy we would be doing hits for. Let me back you up there. You said the first couple of times you said no, is that correct? Yes. Who were you having that conversation with? Russell Allen. And when he said it's for Mosley, did you know who Mosley was? I never met him before. I knew him through him, but he never introduced me personally to him. He told me before that was his friend. So Russell Allen told you that was his friend? Yes. Did you know Mosley by any nickname? Dog. Dog? Yes. And you said ultimately you agreed to it, is that right? Yes. Why did you agree? Because he said it was more money involved. Who is he? Russell Allen. Okay, did he mention an amount, a number at that time? He said it was going to be anywhere between 175 and 250,000. So once you agreed with Russell Allen, did you then meet with Mosley? Yes. Can you tell us when you met him? I believe it was the same day or the next day. Do you remember where you met him? On 149th Street and 8th Avenue. Do you know if he lived there or if he was from there? Well, I know his family lived in 150th Street. And at that time, did you have a discussion about the murders? No. What happened then? He just introduced me to him. Did at some point Russell Allen explain to you who the murders were for? He said that Dog was going to pay us to do the murders. And did you have any information other than Dog, Manny Mosley, was going to pay you? No. Did you know who the victims were? No. And did you learn any purpose or reason behind why these murders were to be committed? No. At some point, did you go to Queens, Mr. Smiley? Yes. Can you tell the jury how that came about? Well, after I agreed to be involved with the murders, I believe it was the next day, Russell Allen picked me up, and he...
What Smiley was that, man? I was up north with a kid named Smiley. That was from 85. Light-skinned kid. Used to be in the yard with us, walking around with this fake hook on all day. Acting crazy in the yard. He had like 12 years. Light-skinned Smiley. He had just came home. He came back. Always talking that hollow.
told me to come down to the block with him. Mosley was down there, and they met us with a Jeep, and they drove us out to Queens. Who is they? It was Russell Allen, Tripp, myself, and Mosley was driving. Okay, you said Tripp. Do you know who that person is? Yes, Barry Broughton. Had you met Barry Broughton before that day? Yes. How did you know him? He's like family to one of my friends. And do you know what he did for a living? Sold drugs. Showing you Government's Exhibit 28. Do you recognize that person? Yes. Who is that? That's Tripp. So you said the next day after you agreed to it, so you, Mosley, and Tripp left in the car, is that correct? Yes. Do you remember who was driving? Mosley. Do you remember what kind of car? I believe it was a Range Rover. Where did you go? To Queens. Are you familiar with Queens, Mr. Smiley? No. Do you know where you went to that day? Jamaica, Queens. And what happened once you got to Queens? We got to Queens, we parked by a lake, and after we parked by the lake, Mosley got out. He went and talked to some guy, and after he was talking to the guy, he came back to the Jeep. He told us we was going to stay in a hotel overnight. So we drove down the block, a few blocks down. We stayed in a hotel overnight until the next day. You said you went near a lake, is that right? Yes. And you saw Mosley speak to some guy? Yes. Did you later learn who that person was? Yes. Who was that person? Kenneth Supreme McGriff. Kenneth Supreme McGriff? Kenneth. Did you know who that person was? Not at the time because they was from a distance. Later on, I learned who it was. When I seen him, I recognized him. How did you recognize him? Because I seen him before. Did you know of him? Yes. What did you know that he did for a living? That he was ruthless in the streets? Showing you Government's Exhibit 32. Do you recognize that person? Yes. Who is that? Kenneth Supreme McGriff. Is this the person you saw Mosley speaking to near the lake? Yes. Did you ever have any conversations with McGriff? No. I'm also going to show you now what's been entered into evidence as Government's Exhibit 2002A, C, and D. Do you recognize that photo? Yes. What's that a photo of? That's the lake. This is 2002C. Is that where you first saw Mosley speaking to McGriff near there? Yes, near there. You said the first night you stayed at a hotel. What was the reason you stayed at the hotel? I don't know. Did you end up staying at a place the second night? He took us to a house across the street from the lake. When you say us, who are you talking about? Les, Tripp, and me. Who took you? Mosley. Let me show you Government's Exhibit 2002A. What's that a photo of? That's the house we stayed in. Where did you stay in that house? In a basement apartment. Now, what was the reason that was given to you as to why you needed to stay in the house? We were staying in the house because they had people out looking for the guys that we supposed to kill. Who explained that to you? Well, Les told me first, and then the guy, Divine, he brought Divine, and Divine explained things to us. He showed us pictures of the guys, and he said they had people out looking for him. When they find them, we were staying at the house close by. When they find them, we could go to the area and kill them. Had you met Divine before that? No. Did he have a nickname other than Divine? No. What's his nickname other than Divine? How about? How about? Yes. What was your understanding of who How About worked for? Supreme. When Divine explained to you they had people looking for the victims, is that right?
That'd be salute the big
Yes.
boy with the donation.
Did you ever look for the victims? Yes. And you said, did you stay at that house for some time? Yes. Who stayed at that house with you? Les stayed there, Tripp stayed there, I stayed there, and then like 2 days later they brought TJ. Did Mosley ever stay there? No. Who is TJ? TJ was another one of the shooters. Showing you what's already been entered as Government's Exhibit 57. Who is that a photo of? That's TJ. How About said they would have people looking. Is that right? Yes. You also looked for the victims? Yes. How did you do that? How About used to drive us around because he knew the victims personally, so he used to drive us around and look for them. How often did you look for the two intended victims? Every day. For how long, do you know? For about a week, week and a half, somewhere around there. And were you ever with Mosley looking for the victims? Yes. And was that every day also? No, Mosley was there one time. And do you remember that one time you looked for victims with Mosley? Yes, he was in a different, separate car. Was this always in Queens? Yes. Now, you said at some point, you said How About had shown you a photo? Yes. Who did he have a photo of? E-Moneybags. Was it a clear photo? It was a real tiny, small photo. It was real small. It was clear. Did you ever have a photo or see the other victim, Troy? No. Now, did there come about a time when you actually saw Eric Smith? Yes. What was his nickname? E-Moneybags. Can you tell us what happened on that day? On that day, we was in a house, and I guess Divine got a call, and he said that somebody shot the victims, and he told us to get ready. So we had geared up, put on bulletproof vests, and got the guns ready. That was down in the basement. And then they came and picked us in a car. Divine came and picked us up, and Trip, Les, TJ, myself got in the car with him. He drove us to the site where the victims was at. Okay, now you said you got a phone call first, is that right? Divine. Divine got a phone call? Yes. Okay, and Divine was staying at the house? No, he came down to the house. Okay, where did you have the gun 37 in the basement? Yes. Were those your guns? No. Whose guns were they? Supreme McGriff. Once you were picked up, do you remember what kind of car Divine picked you up in? I believe it was a Crown Victoria. And what happened? Where did you go? We drove to the site where the victim was at, and he said that that was his Jeep. It was a silver Navigator. Who said that? Divine. Okay, so what happened? So Divine stayed in the car. We, Les, Trip, and TJ got out the car, and we started running up to the Jeep. Okay, was that E-Moneybags in the Jeep? Yes. Okay, what did you do? Well, it was one person that was talking to him on the passenger side through the window, standing talking to him through the window. He ran off. TJ shot at him, and then he ran through the backyard. TJ and Les chased him, and me and Trip ran to the Jeep. What happened at the Jeep? Trip shot the driver. Do you know how many times? I'm not sure how many times, but it was around 9 times. Did you fire a gun? Yes. How many times did you shoot? Around 15 times. And that was into E-Moneybags, is that right? Yes. Was he seated in the car? Yes. Do you remember what kind of gun that you had? A Tech 9. Do you remember what kind of gun Trip had? He had a 9mm handgun. Now, you said Trip had shot him first, is that right? Yes. And where did Les and TJ go? They ran through the back alley, like through the houses. Did either of them ever fire at E-Moneybags? No. And did Divine ever get out of the car? No. After you fired, what did you do? Everybody ran back to the car. Where did you go? Back to the stash house. Was that the house we saw on 2002A? Yes. And what did you do with the guns? Divine came down with a bag, told us to give him all our clothes and the bulletproof vest and the guns. We gave everything to him. He put it in bags and he left with it. And did you see what he did with those guns? No. Now, just to be clear, was Mosley there at the time of this murder? No. And did you see Mosley after? Yes. When did you see him? He came to pick us up a few minutes after Divine left. What happened? He came to pick us up and drove us back to Harlem. And where did you go in Harlem? To Trip Family House. And what happened there? We split some money up. Okay, how much money? I believe it was $25,000. How much money did you get? At the time, $7,500. And who paid you? Mosley. Now, who all got paid, if you know? TJ, Trip, Les, and myself. Do you know if TJ got paid? Yes.
Damn. Damn. That's crazy, man. Yo, that's crazy, man. Yo, that's crazy. We just heard the murder of E-Moneybags, man. We just heard the murder of E-Moneybags. The worst part about hearing about the murder of E-Moneybags, this is the worst part about it, man. Alvin Smiley gives first-hand account of E-Moneybags hit Supreme McGriff. It's world's case. It's world's trial. You know what I'm saying? That's crazy. He's giving him a first-hand situation. And this is Supreme's case. This ain't even Supreme's case. This is World's case. World had nothing to do with Supreme situation. It's a dirty game out here, man. $7,500, yes, that's crazy for a life. For a hit, it's bad business. Storm Money's in the building. OG Sonny Blanco's in the building, man. Yo. Yo, it's a dirty game, man. You know what I'm saying? It's a dirty game, man. It's. I mean, you guys don't understand. Like this shit is this street thing is serious, man. When dudes is sick and tired of being sick and tired, yo, you never know how the card's gonna play out, man. Then this guy's testifying at World's trial, talking about a Supreme hit, how they moved on E-Moneybags. So now we know from these guys' mouth allegedly how E-Moneybags passed away. Salute, salute, salute. Sad, man. This is crazy. And you know, hold on one second. Hold on one second, good people. Hold on. This thing gets a little more creepier, man. Just listen to that testimony is crazy. But the worst part about listening to that testimony is that's at another trial. You know what I'm saying? Yo, it gets crazy, man. Yo, this thing gets crazy, man. Now, the only part of this that's crazy is this guy gets a hit firsthand about. The Smiley gets first-hand account about Big Nose Shorty hit. You know what I'm saying? Big Nose. This guy's. This is crazy, man. This is crazy. So that's why I said that the title was eBay. Basically, eBay's accused of murdering, killing Troy Singleton, because the situation happened with E-Moneybags. So I had to drive you there. I had to lead you there. You know what I'm saying? Now this is at World's trial. It's not even a Supreme situation. These names that's involved, it's real names, man. These aren't names to play with. This is what you consider. All this was in the 5 boroughs. Peanut situation is crazy. Definitely shout out to Crown Court TV on their great coverage on the situation, man. Definitely salute to them, man. They did a great job, you know what I'm saying? They did a great job, Mei Crown. Now here goes some craziness, right? Is that hold on one second. Shout out to Wifey that's sort of checking. Shout out to Wifey, you know what I'm saying? Southern Belle. These guys, now I'm gonna tell you, he didn't snitch. He got like 6 life sentences. He didn't tell. Maybe, you know what I'm saying? He didn't cooperate. He dealt with whoever he dealt with. You know, you gonna fight for his freedom, man. You know what I'm saying? He ain't gonna, you know what I'm saying? You know, these guys that told on him, this is crazy. It's funny because I was locked up with a guy named Smiley in '08. He used to be like a bug out in the yard in 5 points. Yours and 5 points for me. I hope it wasn't that Smiley, but Smiley did say he did some time and came home. And he had like 12 years. He's acting crazy, walking around the yard with a fake hook on all day in the yard, acting like. And it's funny because he used to always act like he didn't like the homies. So using 10 block, 11, you probably know I'm talking about Smiley. You know what I'm saying? Hoping it wasn't him, bro. You know what I'm saying? I really pray it wasn't him. But he said act too weird. You know what I'm saying? So could have been. You know what I'm saying? You just never know. Because he's actually exactly what he should be saying from 155th and 8. Exactly, he should be talking all day. Now we're gonna go into the Dale Simon testifies about the Ivory Peanut Davis hit. The Princeton. Now this is shout out to Crown Court TV and all the hard work that they're doing. I'm just
stand and raise your right hand. Just 1 second.
Shout out to Brooklyn. Man.
Do you affirm to tell the truth? Yes, I do. You do? I do.
These are trial transcripts. Debbie shout out to Mei Ling. She's commentating. That's her voice. This is World's trial, not Supreme trial. This is about Dale Simon testifies about the Ivory Peanut Davis hit at CMB Damion World Hardy's trial. Remember, there was a lot of distraction of his trial because he's going through mental health issues. So we didn't really get to hear the information that was being actually written in the newspaper because it was so much about his trial being pushed back and he had to get psychiatrists and all type of, you know, he wasn't trying to get life in jail. I ain't gonna front. The best thing to play when you're in a situation like that is crazy. You know, when you ain't trying to get the death penalty. I mean, you look at the death penalty.
All right, thank you. Please have a seat. Please state and spell your name. Dale Simon, D-A-L-E, last name S-I-M-O-N. Dale Simon, called as a witness by the government, having been first duly sworn, was examined and testified as follows. Your witness. Thank you, Your Honor. Good morning, Mr. Simon. Could you tell the jury how old you are? I am 38 years old. Are you working? Yes, I am. What type of work do you do generally? I'm in the music and music film industry. Mr. Simon, can you draw your attention to, I think, the mic? I'm working on it. Since you're in the music industry, you know about microphones, right? Yes. Play around with it until your voice is perfect. Yeah. I'm working on it. Directing your attention to August 9th of 2000. Did you go out that evening in Manhattan? Yes. Where did you go? I went to a club called Envy, a nightclub on Spring Street and Varick. And do you remember what time you got to the club that evening? About 12:30 at night, 12:30 a.m. And did you end up leaving? I guess it would be the morning of the 10th in August of 2000? Yes. What time did you leave the club? About 3:30. Did you see anyone you recognized when you left? One friend of mine called Peanut. Do you know his real name? At that time, no, we didn't. We just basically saw each other at the clubs, and we knew each other from the music and a couple of videos. We didn't really have a name-to-name basis. We just knew him by his nickname. I'm going to show you what's already been entered into evidence as Government Exhibit 808. Do you recognize either of those people? Just one person, the guy to the right, which is Peanut. And you said you knew him from the music industry, is that right? Yes. And from videos? Yeah. Why is that? I think at the time he was dating Lil Kim, and she was basically had him in 2 or 3 videos at that time, and he was basically moving around as her boyfriend. So we kind of assumed that he was in the music industry due to the fact that he was so frequent with her. Did you talk to Peanut that evening? Yes, I did. And where did that take place? That happened actually outside of the club right before he was shot. Now, when you spoke to him, was he outside? Can you just describe where that conversation took place? I happened to leave the club. I was waiting for 2 of my friends that were still inside of the club, and I parked on Spring Street waiting for him to come out. At that time, I noticed that Peanut at that time was driving the same car that I had. He had a Range Rover, a green Range Rover. So he pulled up in front of me, and he nodded me like.
Spring Street is what's in. If you're not from New York, it's the Village. It's by NYU. It's by Broadway, Lower East Side. Depends on what part of Spring Street you want. But Spring Street is in the Village. The Spring Street I know is just the Village, Broadway. But it could have been one of them other side blocks going towards the west side, and this Spring Street. You know what I'm saying? But Spring Street is in the Village by NYU. There's an NYU campus down there.
I'm here. I said I hadn't seen him in a long time, so he kind of pulled up in front of me in this little space that was in front of another car, kind of like it wasn't a real space. It was more like a slot where you could just put your nose in but not really park. So he pulled up in front of me, and I got out of my car to have a conversation. He was still sitting in the car, and I was talking to him through the driver's side window on the sidewalk. What happened then? Then 3 shots. I heard 3 shots, and I kind of ducked to the left side of the wall where the club was and hopped in my truck, and that's when he pulled off. And halfway down the block, I noticed that his car had flipped over. Mr. Simon, I'm going to show you what's been entered already into evidence as 801I. Do you recognize this photo? Yes. Can you tell us what this is a photo of? This is actually the block of the club. The club is on the left-hand side, and I believe that's actually Spring Street that I'm looking down. Okay, and if you touch the screen, okay, you can actually show us if you could show us about where your car was parked, where you saw Peanut on the morning of August 10th, 2000? Okay, my car is parked on the left, right here. That's where my car is. And then his car was pulled up in front of that car, so in that space right there. Is there a reason why your car was parked there at that time? Yes, because there's a door to the club that the VIPs leave through. That door that's in front of those cars. You can mark the door. So the door is right here. That's the VIP door. Is there a separate entrance to the club as well? Yes, there's another entrance on this far side, more to the left. And would that be Hudson? Yes, that would be Hudson. There's a door on Hudson also. From what we're seeing, you said this is Spring Street. Is that right? Yes, that is. When you said you were talking to Peanut, you said you were in the driver's side window? Yes. Was anyone else inside the car?
Now, Hudson is like Greenwich Village area. That's more Greenwich Village, but Greenwich Village. Hudson. Yeah, 'cause that's more towards the west side. Hudson.
No, he was by himself. Were you facing him through the front or to the side? You can demonstrate. Well, I was actually in the window with my side facing down Spring, so my back is to Hudson. Okay, So to be clear, your back is to that corner that we see here? Yes. Now, when you heard you said 3 gunshots, where were they coming from? From the back of me. That would be Hudson? Yes. And at the time you heard the gunshots, what did you do? I actually moved over into that corner that's right here. There's like a little crevice. There's crevices in those corners that you can actually stand. So I kind of moved over to that left until I could get to my car. What did you see Peanut do? By that time, he had already pulled off he screeched off from the sidewalk. When you said screeched off, what do you mean? Like he pulled off very fast, very, very, very fast. And once you saw him pull off, then did you go to your car?
These are actual murders that you're listening to. These are actual murders. These names are infamous names, man. These are actual homicides that was going on in the 2000s. Killers killing killers, allegedly. You see, allegedly. Killers killing killers. This wasn't no... This is some black. This is normally you would have conversations like this, like it was the mob going through it, the Italians going to war with each other, or Irish mob going at each other, or the Albanians going at it with each other, or the Yugoslavians or Slavics. This is African Americans putting hits on each other, bro, over housing complexes. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, I did. And what did you see then? What did you do then? Everybody was kind of in a scurry for the shots. So I was kind of, at the time, my friends were still waiting. We're in the club, but they came out at that time. Like when they heard the shots, we all hopped in the car and then we tried to get off the block. But by that time, the accident had already happened. So we couldn't go too much further. And I also stopped to make sure he was okay at that time. He meaning who? Peanut? Okay. And did you see the car flip at that point? Yes, I did. Now, using that photo, generally, can you tell us where that happened? Yes, I'm still in my car here, and he flips here. And do you remember what street corner that was? I want to believe that's actually better. I can corner of Barrett. And what happened once you got to that location? He was hanging out the window and there were people trying to rob him at that time. Did you rob him of what? He had his jewelry, his watches, he had a lot of expensive things on that night. So as he's halfway out the window, people are trying to take his watch and jewelry out. Now, at that time, what time would you estimate this incident occurred? I know it's been a long time, but at the end of the club night, I want to say around 4 o'clock. A.M.? A.M. in the morning. The corner of Spring Street and Hudson, was it crowded at that time? Yes. From the club goers? Yes, from the club goers. And at that corner where you saw the car had ultimately crashed, was it crowded there as well? Yes, it had. It wasn't crowded at first, but by the time I got in my car and drove to the scene, it was extremely crowded. Let me show you Government Exhibit 801A. Do you recognize that photo? Yes. And what's that a photo of? That's a photo of actually the corner of 6th Avenue in Spring, but it's actually the picture, but closer, now that it's closer now. And is that where the crash happened that you saw? Yeah, close to, maybe a little higher, maybe a little closer, maybe in the middle of the block. Not so much right there, maybe closer in the middle of Spring, because this is the actual corner of closer to 6th. And just getting back to when the actual shots were fired, Mr. Simon, you said you were still in the window talking to Peanut, is that correct? Yes. And did you see at that time whether he was shot? No. When did you realize he was shot? After he flipped his car over, I realized he was shot. Can you explain why? It was just, the gunshots were so fast, you know, there's really no time to think. And from the gunshots to the time that he pulled off could have been less than a minute. Like, it was instant. From the time from the time you heard the shots to the time that he pulled off from the corner, it seemed like no time elapsed. It was at the same time. Just heard the shots, automatically ducked and got to my car. And as I'm more focused on getting to my car, he's pulling off. When you were standing in the driver's side window, were there other people around the car at that time? No, but because of the type of cars that we were driving, of course, there would be people looking at us. We had 2 Range Rovers at that time that were brand new. Meaning your and his Range Rover. There were 2 Range Rovers. I didn't hear that. There were 2 Range Rovers? Can you read the answer to that? Wait, this is unorthodox. What is it that you're questioning now? You have an objection? No, I just didn't hear what he said. He didn't hear what you said. I said that our cars were very, very popular because they were 2 brand new Range Rovers. I had the same color that he had that year. That's what made us stop and talk to each other outside the club. Just to clarify again, when you were talking to Peanut facing east, I guess, on Spring, is that correct? Uh-huh. Where did you believe the shots were fired from? They had to be fired from here, from the corner. They had to be fired from the corner. Why do you say that? Because I'm still alive. Because where he got shot and where I'm speaking to him, there's nobody in front of us. He was shot from the back while I'm talking to him because nobody approached us. The shots came from the back of me. I know that for a fact. And no one was near the car immediately at the Range Rover you were talking to, is that right? No. Thank you so much. What club is this again? Club Envy. Envy? Yes, Envy. Where is that located? That's in Manhattan, Spring and Varick.
Yeah, the west side.
On the corner of Spring and Varick? Varick Street, yes. You're a witness. Thank you.
Yeah, that's Greenwich Village. And the others, that's the west side. That's deep, man. That's so deep, man. So we heard how Ivory Peanut David passed away at Club Envy. Now let's find out who's. Hold on 1 second. Give me a second, party people. Hold on. Hold on 1 second. Hold on 1 second. Well, we just heard how Peanut passed away at the club. The passing away of, let me get to it. Wise Hardy. Created a war. And it basically was the Kashmir Brothers versus the Peanut Gang. can't, definitely buckshot, you know what I'm saying? The murder of Wise, Myron Wise Hardy. Created what is known as the alleged murders of Darrell Byam, James Hamilton, Tyrone Byam, and Ivory Davis. That's 5 murders alone. We can't forget about Crazy Supreme. He got smoked too, allegedly. You know what I'm saying? That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then an innocent bystander, Johan. The Troy Singleton thing was just a side job, allegedly. This is deep, man. And who knows how many countless others, because Wise passed away. The streets, these names that you're hearing are infamous names. Do not get it twisted. It's one for the books, man. Was Wise the you know what I'm saying? Was Wise, was eBay the cousin of Death, man? I don't know, man. Allegedly, you know what I'm saying? But you choose your circles wisely. One thing we can say is that them Brooklyn boys was going to war. You know what I'm saying? Oh, shout out to Buckshot. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people don't even know, man. Those are drug wars between African Americans. When you hear wars like that, you know you hear the Italians going at it, mob families, like I said, Yugoslavians, Slavics, Irish, like the Westies. You will hear that with the Gambinos, the KZs. You hear that with the Albanians, with the Yugoslavians, the Slavics. You don't really hear it like that. That's organized killing for. Not so much money was in them projects. African Americans putting hits on each other. You know what I'm saying? It's deep, man. Shout out to Brooklyn. Because hearing this from Brooklyn cats is even more intriguing, because when we hear about Brooklyn is the stick-up game. Digging pockets. You know what? Shout out to my man Doggy Diamonds. He was in Clubhouse last night on Strictly Mentality. Shout out to Strictly Mentality. You know, Garza King, P. Definitely shout out to Tiff and Push That Knife. You know what I'm saying? Push That Knife. Junior, Iced Out and all that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, man. Clubhouse. This Clubhouse is I be in. You know, E-Bands. I go to E-Bands sometimes. A couple of joints out. You know what I'm saying? I check out, man. I should show my love. But we was having a conversation. Doggy Diamonds is like, yo, he don't really cover the street stuff. He does more hip hop stuff, which, you know, I respect him. We start throwing it back into our younger years of knowing dudes and being in the mix and growing up in New York City. So definitely follow and subscribe to Doggy Diamonds. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? He's a New Yorker. He's just a New York guy, and he covers a lot of this hip hop stuff, man. You know, he's been around for years. You know what I'm saying? Yo, you know what I'm saying? He's been on the DVD days to this. You know what I'm saying? Like deep freeze from DVDs to this. OG product DVDs to this. There's a bunch of guys that was able to transition from DVDs. Finally just transition from DVDs to managing people like Fab and the rest of them. You know what I'm saying? But yeah. So hope this was some information. You know, Wednesday we got the Cato joint from Chicago. You know what I'm saying? We got that, the El Chapalito, Chopper joint. I appreciate all those. Definitely salute, Be More Bike Life. I appreciate all those that came through to check out, you know. This is Brooklyn. This is the Brooklyn y'all want to hear about. Lil Kim, that's the guy. Those are the type of dudes we're hearing about murders. So now you're hearing about, when you're talking about E-Moneybags, you actually heard how he got murdered, how they put that together. Most likely that lake they met was at Baisley Pond, you know what I'm saying? Right by Foch and all that. You know what I'm saying? It depends on what side they was on. I'm just giving you a vision of what I'm speaking about. What else was to tell you? The hotel, I don't know where he was at, but you know, E-Moneybags, he explained how he ran up on him, how he shot him, son shot him 15 times, the other guy ran. We heard about the murder with that one. Then we heard about how Singleton died. First, going to count from and people that's telling. They might throw some exaggerations in there, people that's telling. I was locked up with a Somali. I hope it wasn't him, but I was locked up with a Somali in '08. Light-skinned kid from 155th was spinning yard all crazy. He used to act well. He used to act like a bug out. This is a deep story right here, man. Some kids out of Brooklyn. And they was around. These are young boys. They was outside at 88, 89. So we can't say that this is a bunch of young wild cats, man. These young, they had their turn in the projects and they started turning up. I got another one we'll do tomorrow morning with the World creates his own section of. He made his own section of sex, money, murder. I don't know. I don't know if he was really blazed, if he wasn't blazed. But there's some testimony on him being a fake gang leader to manipulate the youth to commit crimes for him in LG. You know what I'm saying? I gotta hear this one because who's gonna check him anyway? You know what I'm saying? Like who's gonna G-check World at that point in time anyway? Unless you wasn't respectable. Like if I respectables could have checked him like Corey King and them. But not just anybody that went up on World to be like, yo son, who you be? Why you bang? What sex you claim? That wasn't happening. So he was just blood. Y'all say he just snatched the whole Blazer thing. Like we're just gonna be sex, money, murder. He most likely probably did come home to sex, money, murder, and just came home and just did his own thing. You know what I'm saying? And just kept it blazing. You know what I'm saying? That's what I would say. I want to hear the testimony. I don't see if y'all want to hear the testimony, but I don't think he just woke up and said, "Yo, I'm gonna be sex, money, murder, f those Bronx cats. We just gonna deep over some BK shit." You know what I'm saying? Like I said, the only people that might have checked tried to G-check him was like, like the Rod Diggs, Homie was popping, and he's, you know what I'm saying? But you got testimony on that. Definitely shot the crowd across TV, Maylene in the building. One of my first projects that we actually did together as a unit, consulting. I hope you enjoyed it, man. I appreciate y'all. Thank you for waking up. Check out the content. Shout out to White, East Southern Bell, West Side St. Louis. Shout out to East Harlem, Spanish Harlem, Washington Projects, Lexington. Remember, guns are becoming mental health issues. Be on point. They're becoming mental health issues. Guns are becoming a part of people's uniforms. So now when you argue with somebody, that just like in New York, you used to worry about getting stabbed. Now it's more so you might get shot. Be mindful of that. Be mindful how you approach people. Because somebody may have a gun on them, you might let it go over the littlest of words. You even gotta know somebody that died nowadays. Become the mental health thing, party people. Be on point in your surroundings, what barbecues you go to, what family functions you go to. Sometimes it's good not to be around, you know what I'm saying? Because these guns are going off, it's crazy, and there's no discipline. We can't say to little niggas, everybody's shooting at this point. Like I told you, so road rage, these people are arguing, guns start going off, boom, smack get hit by accident. So the young boys are spinning, OGs is killing, you know what I'm saying? That's just how it goes. So you don't want to be in those situations, just be on point, stay out the mix, stay out the loop. And don't look for the streets to raise your kids. You might have to take the chance to go, you know what, let me raise my kids. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you don't want to be the ones that go, how come the OGs ain't speaking to my nephews and all of them? Wrong answer. Why you're not speaking to your nephews and all that? You know what I'm saying? Wrong. You know what I'm saying? Now with that, I'm clear. One love, peace, love, and unity. Allegedly, they're trying to say eBay was the cousin of death. Salute.